So chat, as you guys know, I've been keeping up with the whole situation involving JF and Mama JF, the disappearance of Mama JF. As far as I know, we still don't know what happened to Mama JF. But JF has been kind of making the rounds and doing interviews on various different podcasts and shows and stuff like that. We saw, that they went on The Crucible to talk about the disappearance of Mama JF. They went on, what was that person's name? Lauren De Laguna or something like that. That's the one that they rage quit. And we have yet another interview that they recently did with Dick Masterson on The Dick Show. And so I thought we would take a look at this. I've watched a little bit of this. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I've watched a little bit of this, chat. And I think the thing that's the most shocking to me is JF doesn't seem to be concerned about the disappearance of his missing wife at all, chat. And I just look at that and I'm like, I've talked about this before, but if I was in this situation and my wife went missing to the point where there was like a nationwide manhunt searching for my wife, I would be completely fucking distraught. And like, they show no signs of that at all. There's not a care in the world about the fact that their wife has gone missing. But anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, chat. So we have this interview here. We're going to react to this. I don't know if we'll necessarily get through the whole thing, but we'll react to as much as we can. So without further ado,
play that shit.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, JF.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. What an arc of my life that I didn't expect.
Oh man, I envy you. I've been wanting to kill my wife for years, even before I met her. That was always a dream of mine. Can you bump him up, please?
I will warn you, okay, ahead of time. Some people may see the jokes of Dick Masterson to be extremely distasteful. The guy runs like a comedy podcast. Everything is made into a joke on this podcast. So I'm just going to warn you of that ahead of time. Just think of this guy like the internet podcast version of like old school, like Howard Stern or something like that. Like no joke is off limits on this show. So just be warned. Okay.
Please.
Women dream about the wedding day.
I dream about the day that I'm
getting away with it.
Hauled off in cuffs.
Right.
No, I want people to know that I did it. I want women to know that I did it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you want to catch people up on what's happened to you? I'm sorry for laughing, but it's...
Who is the host of this guy? This guy, Dick Masterson. He's the host of the show.
It's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad, but it's also, a lot of it's funny to me. Or ironic.
It's quite funny, yes.
Yeah,
well, I've always been dating troubled women and who do crazy stuff, and it always falls onto me to be responsible for what they do, because our society cannot process the idea that within the cranium of a woman, there are processes that happen which could be called decision making. That doesn't exist. There is no such thing.
The more he opens his mouth about this situation, the more you get a glimpse into his mind about how little he thinks of women. Like he doesn't have any, I'm convinced at this point that he doesn't have any positive thoughts about women whatsoever. As I mentioned to you guys in my previous coverage on this, they are literally just baby making machines to him. Holy shit.
Yes.
The woman is a robot. It's like a Tamagotchi, and if the Tamagotchi dies, it's your fault. It cannot be from within.
So you...
Imagine comparing women to a Tamagotchi. One in the chat if you remember what a Tamagotchi is. If you don't know what a Tamagotchi is, I'll actually I'll explain it to you guys, because I know it's kind of an old people thing.
Derek Taylor donated £4.
Thank you very much for that super chat. I do appreciate it. I know it's more of an old people thing, but this is a Tamagotchi, chat. It's like a little virtual pet. Oh, they have like newer versions of them. What the fuck? I didn't know they still made these. They still make Tamagotchis? No way. This more closely resembles like the ones I was familiar with when I was younger. It's just basically like a little virtual pet You have to like feed it virtual food, play with it, take it on virtual walks, just like the kind of things you would do to like a real pet to take care of it. You have to do with this as well, but they're like virtual, and it's like a little device you kind of would put on like your keychain or something like that, and you have to take care of it. And if you don't take care of it, it dies, kind of like a real pet. But obviously it's not a real pet. There's nothing that actually like bad happens if your pet, it just, okay. It's kind of like a video game. It's a very low rank version of like a video game, kind of like one of those like Tiger Electronic games, but the whole purpose of the game is just taking care of like a virtual pet. But imagine thinking so poorly of women that you compare them to Tamagotchis, chat. Oh shit! What the fuck?
Your wife left your house a long time ago. She said, I'm out.
Like how long?
In June, right?
Yeah.
Yes, June.
She decided that she just needs to go wander. Like she needs to go on a long walk, right?
Did she
went out
say
for
anything?
cigarettes.
She's always been a drifter before I knew her, so she's done that all of her adult life. Most of her adult life, her own parents, her best friends didn't know where she was. She was always in a new country, always traveling, always passing from one border to the other. And suddenly this girl enters in my life and she lives a trad lifestyle with Papa JF for 5 years, which I think is commendable. I mean, that she was able to kind of leave her drifter lifestyle. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I have touched an object of the universe. I have affected its state. I understand that at some point the physical universe bounces back, and that there would be one day where she would just go back to her old lifestyle. She decided that day was June, so she.
Siberian Winter. The chat says long walk. Yeah, when he says long walk, was he talking about, the long walk she took on the side of the road while hitchhiking, the story that he wants us to believe? Or was he talking about the long, treacherous walk they took behind the shed before he took her ass out? Oh, shit! I mean, obviously, like, I'm joking. I truly hope that she's fine, okay? I hope that she's okay. But like I said before, if it does turn out that he did something to his wife, I would not be surprised. I genuinely would not be surprised.
Leaves my home and I'm all good. I'm just a dropper.
Chasing dopamine. He talks about her like she's an animal. I know, like, okay, I know I have a decent amount of women in my chat. So to the women in the chat, if there was a man that you fancied, okay, let's say that there's a guy that you're interested in, and like you get to know this guy a little bit better, you start talking to them. You haven't quite started dating this person yet, but you're talking to them to try and get closer to them. And they start describing whether it's you or other women in the way that this guy describes women. Would you still be interested in them? Would you still have even a remote interest in dating this person if this was the way that they described women? I'm willing to bet most of you would not.
I'm a dropper husband.
Yeah.
I will drop you wherever you want. And I dropped her exactly where she asked me to drop her.
I mean, this is a fantasy that I've had. Can you just drop me off somewhere else? You got it. 5 years is about the end of a relationship.
Did she ask you to drop her into a 6 foot deep hole? Oh shit! Again, okay, I really shouldn't joke about that. I shouldn't joke about that. I genuinely hope that she's okay, but holy shit. Like, his wife has been missing since, what, June? And he just, not a care in the world. He has so little of a care in the world, chat, that the last interview that we watched that he was a part of, he was already flirting with another woman. The Lauren Daguna or De Laguna, whatever her name is. He was flirting with her during that interview.
I mean, then it starts to repeat after that.
Yes.
You know?
They should all be ended after 5 years.
Yeah, mandatory.
Hey, trans girl Jane.
No, wait,
And you mentioned
what
the
country are you in?
ocean. Technically, it was a few meters away from the ocean.
Gayfesh, he talks about her like she's a runaway pet that he wasn't attached to. He talks about her like he abandoned, like people who like, which by the way, this is really shitty and don't fucking do this. But those shitty people that decide they don't want their fucking dog anymore. And so they just go in the middle of like the woods or the middle of the desert or some shit. They dump the dog off on the side of the road and then take the fuck off. Like that's the way he talks about his fucking wife. Like this, if there are any women watching this and they're even remotely interested in this guy, like you should not want to be romantically involved with this guy because you will probably end up just like she did.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
So she was still on land at the moment I dropped her.
Uh-huh.
And I did so in front of cameras because Dick Masterson, what the modern world is. If you don't have a camera, as you do every single move of your life, they will suspect you of murder within whatever second you're not being filmed.
So the way you're talking about it, even now, it makes it sound like murder. Like the way you're saying I dropped her off in front of a camera.
She technically was on land at the time.
She was very close.
It seems even more like it too because like everything he says is like past tense, chat. Everything he says about her is past tense, as if she's gone. Why would you describe your wife in the past tense like that if you still believe that she was alive and well? Like, it's very fucking weird.
To the ocean, though. That's the last time I saw her. But you're right. Like, you're right to do that. I listened to you on a very short interview you had last night where this girl was pretending to be Nancy Drew, and she was trying to like bust you on stuff.
Yeah.
Like JF was talking about dropping his wife off near a gas station, and she's like, "Well, did you get gas? Is there a receipt that proves you?"
Yeah. It's like,
and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?"
Not everything is a clue.
I mean, these are reasonable questions to ask. When you have a guy whose wife just disappeared, he's saying it happened back in June, but the cops are only now finding out about it, and he seems to be completely like, oh, not a care in the world about the fact that she's missing. These seem like valid questions to ask, right? You're telling us this story. You dropped her off at a gas station. Well, did you get gas? And if you got gas, do you have a receipt to prove that you got the gas? Hey, you're claiming that like you had this text message conversation with us. Can you show us the text messages to prove that this conversation happened? Which, by the way, that was an extremely sus part. That was an extremely sus part of that conversation, chat. She asked for proof to see the text messages, and he refused to show the text messages. Like, I understand if there was some private conversation that happened in there, but come on, like, you could show something, anything, to prove that this conversation happened, and, like, you just won't? Why? Why not? Like, holy shit. You're bitching and moaning and complaining about how all these people are assuming the worst happened and they're like questioning you. Yet meanwhile, you supposedly on your phone have evidence. You supposedly on your phone have evidence that a conversation happened that proves what you're saying is true, and you won't show anyone? And you wonder why people are suspect of you.
Yeah, exactly. Women are terrible investigators because they think that questioning every detail is a productive.
Transgo J in the chat says, Tipster, I've been asking to see video evidence from the gas station surveillance. To be fair, he probably doesn't have access to that. I mean, he doesn't own the gas station. So he probably doesn't have evidence to that. Now, granted, if that evidence does exist, I'm willing to bet law enforcement has possession of that now. But yeah, in fairness to him, he probably doesn't have access to that. But it would be nice to see that.
Means she was questioning details that
all we could hope is that law enforcement, because they have been making regular statements about this situation. Nothing of interest has come out just yet, which is why I haven't really taken a look at that stuff. But all we could hope is that eventually law enforcement does release that footage, and then we can see if what he's saying is true. Yeah, I'm willing to bet he probably himself doesn't have access to that.
Police has already asserted as absolutely true. She was so behind the track in her questioning, but I mean, what is there to expect? Females have not evolved to think or to relate to reality.
Gabe Hedge in the chat says, if she vanished in June and law enforcement is only now looking into it, odds are any security footage that would show what he's talking about has already been deleted. Yeah, that's true. A lot of these storage is limited and storage mediums are limited in terms of how much storage they can hold. So like, that's true. Nobody holds on to surveillance footage forever anymore. You don't have like a back room that has like a bunch of surveillance video cassette tapes and shit like that, like you did in like the fucking old days. Nowadays, it's usually, it's either like a hard drive based thing that has limited storage. And so like it's programmed, or people have to manually delete footage after so long. Well, nothing noteworthy happened on the footage within this time frame, so we can get rid of this footage, that sort of thing. Or some people will use like cloud-based solutions that only store footage for so long, that sort of thing. So that's a good point, actually, Gay Fesh. That's a very good point. It's possible that footage doesn't exist anymore.
As it turns out, when your main job in life is to prepare a spaghetti sauce, it's not that dramatic. If you put Oregon instead of thyme.
Yes, it's for real.
That's for real. This sounds like this accent sounds like an amazing character to me.
No, he's called in multiple times before. JF has called in.
No, I remember. Oh my God. Where are you? Where are you? Can you say?
Well,
in the world.
Can you shut the fuck up for 1 second?
No.
And not try to dox me here. I mean, I have.
Jeez, why does he get so like triggered? He got triggered by that girl in the last interview where he rage quit, and now he's getting pissed off at Dick's producer. Like, what the fuck?
People wanting to kill me because I have multiple cycles of my marketing strategy that there are still people wanting to kill me from 2 years ago, from 3 years ago, from 7 years ago.
Really?
You think I'm going to tell you where I am?
I mean,
I am
a portion of the world.
It seems like he's kind of sounds like a sussy character if he's got that many people pissed off at him to the point where they want to end his life. Maybe you need to reevaluate the way you do things, my guy. Oh, shit! Holy shit.
Portion of the world.
I mean, yeah, what part?
North Hemisphere.
What part? Oh, okay.
North Hemisphere,
Canada.
because the whole rest of the planet is covered in shit.
Great.
So I know a lot of your wife is into like I've heard her speak a little bit on the subject, but it sounds like she's very into like music festivals and like hippie lifestyle and like not being tied to anything and being off the grid and stuff like that. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Absolutely. She's been in those parties.
Oh my God, another cat in the chat. I can't wait to see his episode of JCS. Oh shit! I mean, it's true. It would not be surprising if he was on there one day.
She calls them parties.
Yeah.
But they are places of degeneracy that I do not approve.
Yes, I'm in those scenes. I know a lot of women in those scenes, and they do this.
They are trouble.
Not some of them. All of them will just like kind of disappear. If they're done with a relationship, they're just out. They're gonna go live on the other side. They'll go live on some compound, and just that's like they just need like a total reset in their brains. Yeah. So when you described it, I was like, oh yeah, I know other guys this has happened to.
Well, they exist.
It's not
these
fun.
People. Yeah.
Just showing the chat, the interrogation video is going to be wild to see. Well, what's crazy to me is he's going on and on. Like, he's gone on and on numerous times at this point, talking about how he doesn't suspect that he will be suspected in her disappearance. He doesn't believe that the police think he's a suspect or anything like that. But at the same time, he's gone on record to say that the cops have showed up to his house. Like, there was a period of time where the cops were at his house every single day. And some days they would show up multiple times a day. Why the fuck would the cops be going to your house that much if they didn't even have a slight inkling that you might be a suspect in your wife's disappearance? Like, what do you mean? Like, they may not have told you that they suspect you, but they suspected you, my guy.
So when do the cops, or when are you suspected of anything?
Well, it was happiness for 4 months, and no one ever thought in the family of my wife, nor me, nor her parents and closed ones. No one. It never crossed their mind to call the police seriously, because that's just what Mama JF does. That's just...
That's another thing that's really weird. He talked about it, how it was like several months of happiness. I don't know. Maybe it's just because like I don't think of women as if they're like animals to be treated like pets and can be discarded whenever you have no more use of them anymore. Or I don't think of women as just mere baby making machines or whatever the fuck. But like if I were separated from my wife for that long, that wouldn't be a happy period for me. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I've spent the past week without my wife and I've been like bored and lonely, right? So like I couldn't imagine being away from my wife for that fucking long and just being like, no big deal, hunky dory. In fact, it's like the happiest time of my life. Like, what is the matter with this guy? This isn't fucking normal.
Or behavior.
Yeah.
So they know.
I understand the normie mind. I was once like you guys, like not you, Dickmaster's son, but I was once like the people in the audience. Perhaps you are worried for your loved ones. You wouldn't be able to endure 2 days without them.
That's normal.
I have been raped by life. I have been passed through amounts of suffering induced by crazy women that have totally annihilated.
Oh, is he giving a sob story to try and excuse his poor like way of thinking of women, chat?
I have been raped by life. I have been passed through amounts of suffering induced by crazy women that have totally annihilated any form of emotion inside of me. It has blackened a dark spot on my heart. And so at this point, yes,
Poor
I'm
guy.
capable to endure 3 months of female liberty. Sorry. I'm not the old me. Something bizarre happened.
You grew up. That's a second period.
I grew up.
A second puberty in men. It's their total purge of their emotion. Like I don't see. I just.
You're supposed to feel bad for him, chat. His life was so bad, chat, that like you're supposed to feel bad for him to the point where you totally understand his misogynistic view of women.
I don't think of women in terms of a woman anymore. I just think of them in terms of numbers. They're not. They're all identical.
Exactly.
I saw a clip. This was a clip getting passed around where like this, we got him. This fucker is guilty.
I see you guys spamming, coping, and seething in the chat. I don't feel like it's appropriate to play that song for this topic. I mean, I think we've already gone too far with some of the sounds we've played during the course of this coverage, but I know it's funny, but like we're talking about a missing woman. I don't know if it's appropriate to play the Cope and Seeth song during this segment. Whatever. You know what? You guys want it. Fine.
You are coping and seeing.
You guys are responsible for this, okay?
Accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seeing. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard.
I fucking hate everyone.
That's for you guys. No, I love you guys. Anyway, I'm probably going to hell for that. Let's continue.
Because on a stream that it would have been around the time your wife left or you murdered her. You talked about hiring a cleaning crew. Slash murder.
Gay fashion in the chat. I think it's because it's the most predictable thing that could have ever happened, and he's so cavalier about it. Like the only thing we can do is point and laugh and go, "Lol, murderer." It's sad. It's fucking sad, but it's fucking true. It's I truly hope she's fine. I really, really do.
When the leaving / murdering took place, you talked about hiring a cleaning crew to come into your house and that they sterilized it.
That's the other weird thing. His wife leaves and the first thing he thinks to do is clean his house, do remodeling, replace the fucking drywall, sterilize his house. These are not normal fucking things you do when your wife leaves to go on a little trip. And then she goes missing. What the fuck?
Okay.
Perhaps
I didn't hire a crew. I did clean my house because the imprint of a woman on a house is dramatic. It is dangerous for the pillars of the house, for the stability, for the cleanliness. And so I did.
Yeah, blood splatter on the walls does tend to be pretty dramatic, chat.
Oh shit!
I need to stop the jokes. I need to stop. I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay.
Did arrange the house in my taste when my wife left me. Sorry. That doesn't make me a murderer.
But
It was just because you said sterilized.
Am I a bad person, chat? Does this make me a bad person? Maybe a little bit.
They're all like, "Oh, see,
Yeah,
he's sterilized
Yeah, but-
because of all the blood."
I've been talking like a serial killer for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's my whole shtick. It's like, and
And that she had an electronic trace. I also heard you say that. So you were like, because her
Yes.
phone, I don't know, what's her electronic trace?
the thing is, I've been working on covering police stuff for about 10 years, seriously, and I go deep inside police questioning, investigation
Thanks for the money,
techniques.
you fucking
I go
simp.
deep.
Thank you.
Rain Power and a Modi donated $2. Don't worry, we're all going to hell, Mofo.
This is true. You all are members of the Coomer Nation. Y'all are big Cooman, so you are definitely going to hell. And we'll all celebrate when we all get there.
Into mass shooter type of stuff, and I have the technical language. And so when people ask me, Jeff, will you be a murder suspect? I explain to them in technical police language, no. There is an electronic alibi available where she has left an electronic trace far from mine. That was too autistic for most people. People have read this sentence and said, that's further evidence that he did it. An electronic alibi is the simple fact that we are so
Transgirl J in the chat says I got kicked out of hell for trying to take over it. Based.
traced in our life with everything we do on the internet that
Yeah.
I mean, personally, my life is on the internet. You can literally know exactly where I'm at, maybe 20 hours per day, and AI could tell you the next 4 hours where I am. So that is what I meant by an electronic alibi. I knew for sure that Mama Jeff was safe when she left me, that she was safe for at least 2 days after leaving me, that she was on her way for traveling, for her travel plans, and she was giving me signs that she was away from my home.
Agent 006, funny thing about the hazmat suit video, he contaminated himself multiple
Thanks
times.
for
He
the money,
probably
you
missed
fucking
some spots. Thank you.
KingZack259 donated $5.
Thank
If
you.
those jokes make you a bad person, my jokes make me a war criminal.
Oh
Smiley
my God.
face.
Thank you very much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Does anybody have a link to that hazmat suit video? I've seen clips of it, but I've never seen the actual video.
And alive. That makes me impossible to be a murderer.
Yeah. I've also noticed that. Well, you guys, you have kids, a kid or kids, or is that doxing? I read
Well,
somewhere.
I do not talk about this subject.
You don't talk
I
about
do
this
not
subject?
engage on this subject. No.
Okay, so the only reason I bring it up is because I've noticed that when people talk to you about this, they say, well, there's no way a woman would do this. And then their next step is, well, there's no way a woman would do this to kids. And then, well, there's something you must have done to drive her away. Like, it's like this endless, like, way of, like, well, you must have done something.
You're
Either
guilty
you
of
killed
something.
You killed her. You meant, because there's no way a woman would just leave her.
Siberian Winter, have we noticed any contradictions in the story yet? I feel like he'd have a problem keeping his story straight throughout these interviews. That's one thing I will say. I haven't personally noticed any contradictions unless I'm misremembering something. It seems like he's pretty consistent with his story. So I will give him that. He's maybe he's telling the truth, or maybe if he's not, he's rehearsed this to the point where like he's really good at telling the same story. He's changed his story already. Wait, has he? What did he say? Maybe I'm misremembering something. I don't know.
Family, right? And like, fucking newsflash.
happens.
Women go out for cigarettes too.
Yeah. They do. I've seen it.
Women drop their babies in a box. There are literally boxes put up across the U.S. for women to practically drop their newborn into it.
No, we
So
have
you're
mail
not
slots.
going to
There's like panels at fire stations.
They don't
where
do
you
it
can,
in a dumpster.
Yeah, you can move like a bank
Somebody
deposit.
checks
Put the
these
baby in
boxes.
and then shoves it in.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
a fucking mail, like a pizza. Like order up. Here you go. Like
Right.
at a bank.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I mean, I had an audio problem here, but Yeah, ultimately you have two buttons. Either there are boxes for women to drop their newborn, or
What the fuck is he talking about? He's talking about how like you can drop off like, you know, if you have a baby and for whatever reason you decide you don't want to care for the baby, you can, you know, leave the baby at like a fire station or something like that. That's what he's talking about.
women never leave their babies. Both options aren't available. Decide what society we're in.
Yeah. They do exist. Do you know if she's coming back? Do you want her to come back?
I do not know if she's coming back, and as a libertarian, I have no say on, I am neutral on whatever she wants to come back or not. If she comes back, she knows exactly the conditions of life with me. It's very relaxed conditions of life. I don't have much demands. I demand monogamy, I demand fidelity, loyalty, and non-physical attacks or non-physical destructions. Those are the terms of my life. And she can come back to it any point. Except if I have found another woman. If I'm with another woman.
I mean, this is another thing that makes it kind of sus for me as well, is like we're listening to a guy who, you know, is very misogynistic, doesn't think very highly of women, very much has the mindset that like a man should have complete and utter control of his wife, right? Like that's the way he thinks. And so to hear a man that has those views, like turn around and talk about how like, well, hey, you know, like, I don't have any control over what she does. If she wants to leave, she can leave. And it just kind of is what it is. Like, she can just do whatever she wants to do. And it's like, come on. Come on. You expect us to believe that you're a man that believes that women, like you should have utter control of your wife, your spouse, but she's free to go and do whatever she wants. Come on. Like, Nobody's buying that.
When I cannot take her back.
She's on a clock. She's on a...
And let me tell you, I have experienced for 1 week the killer's bounty. That is the phenomenon, the psychological phenomenon by which females are more attracted to you when you are suspected of the murder of your wife. Holy shit, it is there. It exists.
Is he admitting that he's got like women sliding in the DMs because they think he's one of those like murderers that they're like chat, the more he opens his mouth, the more I think he probably did it. Oh shit. God. Also, there's like something mentally wrong with women like that are attracted to like serial killers and shit. There's something mentally fucked with you. I'm sorry. It's just true.
The killer's bounty is real.
What have women emailed you?
There's women fall in love with serial killers.
Yes.
They have? What do they say?
I mean, it's incredible. Within a single sentence, they tell you that they're single, that they're ready for insemination. I used to be at insemination within the first year. And as I moved into e-celeb territory, I was at insemination on the first day. At this point, I've reached insemination on the first sentence.
Who describes having sex as insemination? Like,
is that your goal?
Life moves fast.
Inseminating as fast, as quickly as possible?
It is not my goal. I'm just a family guy who wanted a large family with a single woman, but the world didn't want to give it to me. And so I'm on a quest of vengeance. And I spray and pray until I get my vengeance.
Spray and pray? Vengeance? Like, my dude, the more you open your fucking mouth, the more suspect you sound. Just shut the... Okay, I don't know if he has an attorney. If he doesn't, he should. I'm going to say what your attorney should be saying to you if you have one. Stop going on these fucking podcasts and shut the fuck up. Holy shit.
You can shut the fuck up, bitch.
Okay, so
Lichens in the chat says, who says romance is dead? Oh, shut the fuck up.
the murdering reputation is working in your favor now.
Absolutely. And so I was like, okay, this is hardcore.
If there's anything that gets me my fucking jollies, it's using the word insemination to describe sexual intercourse. Jeez.
I fucking hate everyone.
I've already built a CV of being one of the greatest assholes in the world. That is fun. It's jokes on the internet, invectives, racist, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this is the next level. OJ style,
Yeah.
just murder.
You're the French OJ,
And so I was
the
like-
French Canadian OJ. I wanted somebody
Yeah.
to
Oh, God.
Photoshop me and you in a white Bronco before you called in.
Oh God.
Because
So my philosophy is you deal with the hands that you're given. And I've been given the hand of possible murderer. I'm going to have to play it, you know.
you got to tell her you deal. I deal with the hands that life gave me, and you deal with these hands, right? See how it goes for you. Do you think he did it? Do you think he killed his wife, Sean? Hearing him talk about it.
I have fucking no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea if any of this is on the level.
I'm kind of hoping he did, and he gets
right,
away with it,
right.
Which I would gladly help. You know?
Sure. That's it.
Okay. I'm done. I'm done. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, there's so many questions I have with this fucking guy. Why are you not concerned about the disappearance of your missing wife? Why are you talking about her in the past tense as if she's already gone? Why are you already flirting with other women like while your wife is missing and there's like there's just so many. I'm just gonna end it with this. I hope she's okay. I really, really, truly hope she's okay. You know, it's funny to joke and meme and stuff about, you know, him being a murderer and stuff like that, but I really, truly hope she's okay, because holy fuck, this is going to be awful if it turns out he actually did it. Jeez.